Greetings, welcome to TLC, Tropical Literature Creatives, the podcast where we interview Caribbean authors about themselves and their literary works. Today we have with us the kindly Kimolisa Mings. Kimolisa, welcome to Tropical Literature Creatives.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Kimolisa, as is our custom on the program, one of the initial questions that we ask the persons who we host is, what would they recommend to a person that is visiting their country for the first time? We usually give it in the form of a scenario. Imagine we're meeting each other at the airport. I'm coming to Antigua for the first time, and I ask you, Kimolisa, what can I try as I'm here at Antigua for the first time?
Well, I would say go down to English Harbor. Although it's like a here and there for me, where it's historical, but then it's what we have, and it has a lot of things going on that you don't have to go like long distances from one place to another. There's like the museum, there's old sites and everything, and then there's restaurants. So it's a nice little hub where you can just experience the history as well as just hang out and meet interesting people.
Okay. I mean, Antigua already sounds interesting. I haven't been there, but I'm looking forward to visiting.
Yeah.
All right. Kimolisa, I am just going through some of the items that you would have put forward, and it's an impressive list compared to a couple of the other authors. Not many persons have published as many works as yourself. And
Looking slow down.
No, I mean, one of the things that got my attention was the cross sections of genres. I mean, you usually find persons sticking to one thing. Let's say an author might do, like, for example, children's books. Another author might do, for example, a book on physical training or physical well-being. But I'm seeing, if it is that you visit your website, there are like 4 different, well, you could say 3, and there's other books, different types of genres. And what motivated you to explore these different type of genres as opposed to just sticking to one?
I was an idiot.
Okay. Please explain. Yeah, please explain.
Well, okay. When I approached self-publishing, it was just like, hey, let me try it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I started out with a short story, and that was like Caribbean based. It was called Little Red Woody.
Okay.
And then I decided, okay, let me try romance. And I was playing around in that space, even though I didn't know all about the tropes and the whole mechanics of it.
Okay.
After I played around in that space, I decided, okay, let me definitely learn the craft. And in doing so, I wrote, a speculative fiction based in the Caribbean in the future, and what may have you. But although it was an interesting exercise, I kind of liked the idea of picking a genre and going deep in it. So that's why I decided to go into romance and maybe dabble in a little bit of erotica, but try and go deep and explore that way. But although I see myself doing contemporary Caribbean fiction, there's still a little niggling to do to go back into maybe sci-fi, space opera kind of vibe. So I'm going to see if I can overlap it sometime in the future.
Okay. I mean, if that's the case, then we look forward to it. The reason I say that is because being here and interviewing persons, and this is just my opinion, maybe other persons might be a bit more experienced, maybe they may have more information, but from where I'm sitting, there aren't many persons who dabble in the genres that you're exploring, like romance and sci-fi. I haven't encountered many authors who do that in the Caribbean. They may be there, but there aren't many of them that I've come across as yet. If you know anyone, you can probably, send them in my direction because I'm interested in talking to them. But for now, I think you pretty much stand up where the genres are concerned. So we look forward to your writings.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'd love to see is like Caribbean authors. Although I respect literary fiction, it would be nice to have like genre fiction. But then because we're so separate and we've got water in between.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that easy to like get our books into other markets, like say in the bookstores. So you might have something in Trinidad, like in genre fiction, but because it doesn't make it to Antigua, I just wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because Jamaica, it's so far away and they have a large market, they can exist within that market easily without having to share their work to other Caribbean islands.
Okay.
So that's something to explore for Caribbean writers. It's just like, even if it's not getting their physical books out there, it's at least letting others know, hey, I'm a genre writer and I write in the Caribbean. Here are my books.
Okay. I mean, having published so many books, I mean, which channel has how do I phrase this? Which channel works best for you? Because I know that you have your website where persons can go see your work and, I assume, order books. A couple of your books I came across on Kindle, which it works for me because I have Kindle Unlimited, which allows me to get access to certain books because it's bundled in the service. And then you mentioned bookstores, like for example in Jamaica, and I imagine that you would have attempted to get books across there as well. Like, am I wrong in your attempt to do so?
I haven't tried that as yet. Right now, I'm more focusing on building the catalog, and I recognize the importance of being in Amazon because it is such a large marketplace, and I recognize that the market kind of skews for romance. It kind of skews towards the Kindle Unlimited aspect because it's like romance authors are whale readers. They read a lot. And to say to buy each title, that can get expensive as opposed to being in a subscription service where they can just pick up books and they've already paid for it. So that in that instance, that's why I publish. I'm set for romance and hopefully in the future women's fiction as well.
Okay.
But getting it in bookstores, that is a major undertaking, and having even taken part attended a workshop where they had a publisher. I think it was out of St. Martin. They also recognized that as a hurdle and an obstacle that they're trying to surmount where it comes down to distribution, getting the books out, the physical books.
Okay.
And that's not really cheap, but that's where it's great for ebooks because that's easy to publish as well as easy to access. It's just an easy download, but the marketplace is so saturated that you have to kind of find your niche and, market to your ideal customer. Be that through saying that you're a Caribbean author or you are writing a particular story that people are interested in reading.
Okay. As an author from the Caribbean who specializes in these particular genres, I mean, has it been easy to get the word out about your literature?
I think social media has been helpful and learning how to utilize it. And I recognize that it's an issue of being consistent. And, no matter what, you have to learn the marketing of things and the systems of marketing to really make a dent or getting your name out there.
Okay. I mean, you mentioned marketing. Is this something that you had to learn, or is it something that you have someone to work with? Okay.
You gotta learn it, and in some instances it's just like this new little toy that you're tinkering around with, and in some instances it's just like, I don't want to. It's a lot of work. You learn a new concept. It's like, ooh, that's interesting. Let me try that. But like finding your niche, targeting a particular audience, and then you have it's like a bullseye. So you have your definite audience, but then there's other people on the outer one that may not be particularly your audience, but they will come across your books. So it's an interesting thing to explore and to have fun with. That's the important thing to learn. Have fun with it. Don't become overwhelmed. Just
No, I mean, I wanted to come back to this question. You mentioned self-publishing. I mean, why did you choose that route as opposed to traditional publishing?
I'm a wuss, and
I think you're being too hard on yourself, Kimolisa. Okay, but that's just me. I think you're being hard on yourself. But explain.
I'm a wuss, and it's just like putting yourself out there and getting the rejection or whatever. And the other day I had to sit down and was like, what is it do I want out of this? And I recognized within myself that I liked the process. I liked the creativity of it. I liked tinkering with a story. And then I also liked the publishing in terms of packaging it and learning, okay, if you're going to write a book about Black women, put the Black woman on the cover, because other people will buy it and they're like, oh, why is her name like this? And it's just like, it wasn't for you. So
yeah.
There are all these little things that I enjoy, and I want to be creative in that, in all aspects of it, as opposed to, it's not so much the money and it's not so much the play. It's about creating something. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I would love to be published, like maybe just like have a book out there published by Harlequin someday.
Yeah.
But I also like to just find my voice still tinker around, get into a system of publishing on a consistent basis. And then when I feel like I can write for you, that's when I would like to be able to say, hey, let me throw a story idea. And one of the things that I was interested in approaching Harlequin actually, but then when I looked at the different submission requirements, I didn't see where I could fit, because it would be like, you wanted millionaires and billionaires and whatever in exotic cities, or you're looking for small town America, whereas I'm small island Caribbean. It didn't fit. But I'll see in the future. I hear that they're creating a new line, so I'm gonna wait and see where that fits in.
I really respect your approach in that you didn't find a place for yourself, but here you are, you made a place. And and I really respect that, and the way that the marketplace is looking. I mean, Caribbean literature seems to be a big thing, and let's just keep our eyes open and see what happens.
Definitely.
Are you a full-time author, or is this something that you do, when it is that the mood takes you?
I guess I'm a hybrid of it, where I'm not full-time. I work otherwise, but I am putting in the work consistently in putting my books out there. Or the different aspects of the publishing, whereas it's marketing and the like. So it's like, I kind of slipped in the last over the last month, but I'm getting back on track, where it's like I'm writing every day and I'm coming up with ways of getting the work out there.
Okay. I mean, you say that you're writing every day. How long, on average, maybe it might be different for each book. How long on average would you say that it takes you to complete a book, like from conception to print?
That is something I'm trying to figure out, because sometimes I would start and then it wouldn't work, so I'd have to spend more time in figuring out the storyline. For instance, the last full book I had written, it took me 2 years, because every time I kept picking it up, but I didn't feel like I got the story, and I didn't really start to write it out until I really understood the characters and was able to write it. But my ambition was that I would have done it in 3 months for this year, and it was just like, this year it was like, what are you talking about, Willis? This is not happening. Idiot. Not even idiot, it's idiot. What were you thinking? So I'm going to approach it again. I'm going to be kind. And
please. Thank you. Be kind. Be kind. I mean, like I said, you've put out a lot of books. Is there, of the books that you've written, I mean, which one would you say is there a favorite that you have?
Oh,
Or is there one that has more meaning than the others?
the ones that I would say I would love to, the ones that I felt was right for me in my spirit, I didn't complete it, which was called Integration. It was a sci-fi, Sweden software-esque storyline, and although I know the next, because it was like a set of short stories, one story but continuous, and it was a joy to write. It was something that flowed. I know how the story goes on next. I didn't have to fight with it or anything, and it was the kind of story that it was immersive for me to write because I was in it. And then afterwards when I read it back, it was just like, oh wow, I wrote that. So I'm proud of it, even though I did not finish it. And hopefully I will be able to finish it. And I don't know if I would ever say there was a favorite, because sometimes even the stories that I'm playing around in my head, it's more like, yes, I can't wait to start writing it because there's like a little joy in creating these stories.
Okay. A question that I had, well, obviously I have questions, but another question I had, in terms of like your inspiration for the book, how does this come about? Go outside, ride a bicycle, you go fishing? I mean, do you like read other books to get ideas? Is it that, I don't know, you go to the movies? Is there a particular method that works for you, for your inspiration, for your writing?
With one book, I actually was weird. I got the idea to write the first Caribbean romance novel, and it was starting to go with this other story, and I was thinking, okay, so I'm going to make it a series, and then I started thinking about the second book, and then that's the only book I had written. So it just unfurled, or sometimes it was just like one little idea, and it just like blossoms from there. So even this morning, I'm sitting down, I want to take part in anthology, and I was like, this little kernel of idea, and then it just kind of blossomed where it's like, oh, we can do The Handmaid's Tale, but make it a dominatrix. And I was like, okay, let's unpack it. Let's do the outline. And it was like, okay.
I like where this is going.
This is fun.
Yeah.
So it can just be like one little idea, and it's just like, and I don't know if you've ever considered, because like the very first story I ever wrote, it was just like this little idea, and in my head it was just like this thing that kept just turning until it's like I have the beats of each scene, and then in the background I'm just like processing this story. I'm going about my day and it's processing until I'm ready to sit down, and then it just kind of just let it flow. But I think those are like the fun stories because it's like it comes out of nowhere and I'm on the ride as well. So I explore it that way. And the other time is like when I'm reading books on the craft. So it's like they have these concepts and it's like, okay, I can see how that can work, and then a new story develops based on what I'm learning. So that's why it's important to, just let it come when it's coming. It may happen while you're taking a shower. It might be when you're walking down the road. One of the stories I have, it's called If the Shoe Fits.
Yes.
And that came from just because I saw a woman wearing a stiletto heel. I was attending a conference.
Like, yes.
And this woman was wearing a stiletto heel, and it was like
inspiration. For
some strange reason, I thought, whoa, a woman wakes up next to a body where there's a stiletto in the person's eye, and she's wearing the other stiletto. And then I just left the main conference room and I just sat down and I wrote the story. So
okay, that sounds wild. It sounds wild. So, one of your books, His Last Wish. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that was going to be the sequel to previous one, The Pleasure Is Mine,
Mm-hmm.
where I had the brothers come through, the brother of the first one in the second one. And I think that one, although I had the idea of them together, two main characters, there was something interesting in unpacking what she was going through. Whereas her husband, she died, and then her discovering that he hadn't been completely truthful with her. And although there was the plot of it, there was still, it was like at one point it just felt as though you're just moving a chess piece around as opposed to something organic flowing. So that's why that took me like 2 years to work out, because I don't know, and sometimes in your spirit you can know that, hey, I'm not approaching this work as it should be. Whereas it's a good story as opposed to, hey, I just picked up this person, this happened, but it doesn't feel authentic. So at the end of writing it, it was like you write it and then you rewrite it and you flesh it out. And sometimes it's not even there are parts that you didn't actually even factor in that just emerges. There seems that it wasn't part of the storyline, but then you kept working on it and you find it. And it's just also finding that, yes, you may have your happily ever after, but it's never a definite thing. Something could happen. And you can be open to something that you truly wanted and admitting that's what you wanted.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I mean, from the persons I've interviewed so far, not many persons are dabble into the genres that you do. And maybe in time, persons may use the stuff that you write as a template for their writings going forward. I'm just curious, in the event that, let's say, for example, in Antigua, do you have any kinds of textbook that you use to help persons with their reading and their comprehension?
I don't think so. I think it's like honestly,
No, well, the reason I ask is because, well, like in Trinidad, like in secondary schools or in primary schools, we have like different books. Like there's something called Republic Readers, which helps like persons in primary school with their reading and their comprehension. And the reason I asked you that question is if in time, if your writings persons consider it significant enough, if it is that your writings were to be adopted into the educational system to help persons with their reading and their comprehension. I mean, what would your thoughts be about something like that?
No. Oh, no. No. I don't want that kind of responsibility.
Why?
And I don't think they want sexy time in the schools.
I mean, like you said, you're exploring different kinds of genres, for example, sci-fi as well, or even university level education. I don't know, just toy with the idea. I mean, you never know. Like I said, there aren't many persons who do it.
I like the idea that somebody would come across my book, see themselves in it, and just read it. And I like when that happens. When I would go to a local bookstore and people would say, the bookseller would say, yeah, I told them about this book or whatever. I like the idea of somebody just going somewhere and discovering my books. I have no disillusionment that my book is so highbrow that people would read them and see similes and metaphors and see deeper meanings. I just want them to have a nice, easy read, see themselves in the pages, and then move on. I leave that to the Joanna Hill Houses and the other people, and I would just create and have it out there.
Okay.
Just for people to enjoy.
All right. Well, I would just say is don't underestimate the effect of your writings, and I'll leave my comments there. I'll just leave that there. But for persons who would have seen the stuff that you have been putting out and say, here's what I mean, I like what she's doing, and I would think I want to do something similar to what she is doing. What advice would you want to give to them?
I would say read in the genre. I would say write. I would say read books on the craft. because it will show you the mechanics of it, and they will give you examples so you can follow suit. Because I think of it as the bones, and strangely enough, and it was only by reading, I think it was Save the Cat, and I came across something else where they said that, you know what, people want what they know, but they want it different. So it's just, or it will be tell the same stories but then transcend it. And that is what I would say. Just take a story, it could be set in the Caribbean, but make it something that people can relate to. And then just do the work, just write. I'm not saying you're going to publish it, but the more you do it, the more you fine tune your craft, and you find your voice, and you find what you enjoy writing.
Okay.
So
I mean,
it's just do the work. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you said that one of your intentions with the book is for persons to get copies of it, go through it, see themselves, and to have a good time reading your literature. If it is that I wanted to get copies of your literature, not you or anyone who listens to this program, what channels can persons use to get copies of your books?
They're on Amazon at the time being. I tried to consider getting it on, say, Ingram Spark, but that's a lot of steps to get into, and it seems not to be that easy for people outside of, like, say, the US, UK, and Canada, the EU. They're here locally in Antigua at Best of Books, as well as 10 Pages. But the main thing is Amazon.
Okay.
They have both the ebooks and the print books.
Okay.
For some of them, yeah.
All right. Okay, well, Kimolisa, that pretty much brings us to the end of our interview at this point in time.
So,
thank you very much for being on our program. We really enjoyed having you. We really enjoy your offerings literary-wise, and we look forward to hearing all the other things that you're working on. That particular book you're talking about, the sci-fi book, when it comes out, reach out to us because we want to talk about that too.
no problem.
Okay. All right. Well, you take care.
You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to TLC, Tropical Literature Creators. If you've heard something of interest or something you like, reach out to us. Reach out to our authors. Follow us on social media. We look forward to hearing from you.